All right, we're live. It's Tuesday, April 7th, 2020.
Well,
We are going to paint some models for an hour. What are you working on, Jay?
uh, Howling Banshees that I have built and prepped and washed. So, and started. So I got 10 of these. And I don't know when I'm going to really start working on this. Maybe after I'm done the squad, here's Chainsaw. It's pretty incredible for a miniature.
Yeah, what did you do on her so far? You just chuck like a wash on, or?
All of them have had, what did I do? I did a skeleton horde wash with, contrast wash, I guess, with cut with Lamy and medium because that's what I had lying around.
Nice.
And then I did another wash of Reichland flesh shade gloss to I don't know, the first wash didn't fill the crevices as much. It didn't stain a lot, but it didn't fill the crevices enough. So this is my test model here.
Almost like a guide code, I guess, and then just kind of.
Yeah, so now I'm like I've base coated the other elements, and I'm gonna start like slowly finishing parts and like highlighting them. Pretty traditional way, kind of base coat wash and now highlighting. There's nothing really fancy I'm doing
The
with this.
Citadel method, if
This
you
is a
will.
very
Yeah.
yeah, classic,
Yeah.
classic brained Citadel method. Oh, so yeah, that's what I'm doing. What are you
Cool.
doing?
I've just been I've been working the last night or two on Baron Zemo from Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Crushing the Marvel, yeah, very
It's
good.
pretty fun.
It looks like, if I saw correctly, that we may get some Marvel restock. If I saw
Yeah,
right.
they're kind of they're it seems like they're like running a skeleton crew or something, and they're doing like they're shipping some stuff. So we've
So
got
yeah, if
Red
people are
Skull
looking
pretty
for
much.
some Marvel stuff, we might have it soon. Red Skull. He's the focus. There he is.
And today I'm gonna just throw some base coats on the chairman Modoc
On the chair. Oh my god.
Psychic Devastation.
What a crazy model.
Yeah, yeah,
It's pretty cool.
yeah. Throw some contrast paints on it because that's what I do.
So, Chris and I were talking about the Warhammer preview, or lack of much that went on last week.
Yeah, it was you can definitely tell that the intention originally was to have this like one really big impressive preview,
Mm-hmm.
and they've just had to water it down to kind of
Yep.
keep some semblance of like news, I guess, in the cycle.
They needed news. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, the Luminar Kishov's box looks pretty cool. I like these. What do we call them? Spearheads or whatever. What we used to call them.
yeah, I think that's like I'm a little biased, but I think that's my favorite. Probably my favorite piece of news was the box set. It's pretty cool that seems like it might be a thing they do for a little while now
Got like
with
your
brand new armies.
custom dice and your one of everything. It's pretty good. I think they're nice. I don't know. Most people that are super excited are going to buy all those things anyway. So
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Like if you just think about it, like your card pack, your book is like $80 right there,
mm-hmm.
and then some dice. Maybe I don't know. You value this at $20, $30. You're already like at a hundo, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
pretty quickly.
and I think the difference between this one and the sisters one is this one seems like it's going to be like full kits,
Mm-hmm.
um, in the box. So people are like, oh, it's a little bit less models, but it's actually the model kits I think are like the fully multi-part sets that are going to come out later on. So
Yeah, yeah. I
that's
think
why.
yeah, yeah. You're not. You're getting normal. Yeah, this is no you're getting regular kits or whatever, which is great. And then what else did they show? Blood Bowl Tree Man.
I feel like I forgot most of it.
Yeah,
I don't even mean that as a slight against the. I'm just like, there wasn't anything that like really was kind of
there's some like
crazy.
throwback.
The Tree
type
Man
of
was
things.
I thought was pretty cool.
It was really nice. I like
It's a
that
really
new.
nice piece.
What did they do? They had this. They'd done it 2 weeks in a row now. They had this like plug-in or something or whatever they installed on their website, where like you scroll and it like shows you the old model, and if you like keep scrolling your mouse wheel or whatever, it like or sliding on your phone, it like kind of reveals in the same. I don't know how you call it, in the same like frame what the new one looks like. So you get this like interactive side by side. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a really neat thing.
I think they did it with Fabius Pile last week or something.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat, yeah. So it's kind of cool to see the evolution kind of happen in front of your eyes. So, and then
what else was there? There was the Lord of the Rings models. There was the Forge World Word Bearers dudes.
All very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Lord of the Rings were they were like rangers.
They're
or
rangers.
whatever.
Yeah, they're Faramir's rangers.
Like,
some of the minor characters from the movie. I think they did really finally. Good, yeah. Nice pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we said before, we keep doing this, and you might see some of those on the stream, like
yeah,
just to paint because they're nice. And yeah, if they get around to like redoing some of the. I mean, I know they've redone a bunch of some of the base, the foot troops and stuff from before, but I don't know if they keep doing this. I think a lot of people are gonna jump back into the game because, as we know, good models always drive excitement. So.
Yeah, exactly. And then there was the announcements for the new battle tome.
The giants or whatever. Yeah, I think that's a cool idea. As with anything, I'm hoping that we get some new kits out of it, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. I know the giant kit is versatile already, but I don't know. I'm a little skeptical. But hopefully, hopefully something.
I mean, if they go hams and just make a bunch of new kits, that would be pretty sweet. But it's always hard to know.
I mean, even one new giant kit would be that was multi-piece and everything could be enough, maybe. Because I think they're banking on you just like you buy the same kit a few times and build them however you want. And it immediately struck me as the Age of Sigmar's like what is it? Knight Army equivalent.
Oh yeah,
like
big time.
Like 6 dudes or whatever. Well, we kind of had it with Beastclaw Raiders.
For a little while there, yeah, we did.
They were tier 1 for a bit, yeah. Shooting snowballs and whatever.
Until people started taking fanatics and goblin blobs with them and just like wrecking people.
Oh yeah.
It became like less hordy, less monster smash. But yeah, that was a pretty fun army because I think it's a good idea generally to have an army where someone could just like put down 5 models and that's their army.
It gets people into the game or whatever, because they're like, oh, I already own 2 or something, or I could paint 5 big dudes and just enjoy some games.
Yeah.
And generally, it's a pretty efficient investment from a dollar's perspective. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't think it's a bad idea. How far it'll go, hard to say. It's tough to win AOS without some numbers, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's gonna. I think the rules are, to me, like going to be one of the more interesting like things to come out of that, because mechanically, like you said, the game really focuses on bodies.
We did get what is it? The little rules tease for the shelves.
Right.
Or is it? I think they can activate 2 units.
Right.
That seems pretty strong.
That is a what would you say, a top tier ability?
Yeah, yeah. I was just like, okay,
Double activating is very strong. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
That's good stuff.
we'll see what interesting ways we can abuse that.
Yeah, it's gonna give a good feel for for charging. It means you can't throw your whole army in and go first, but you'll be able to
It's kind of like a little bit what deep can do, but there's like a little bit
yeah, more
you get to
spread
do
out,
it.
I guess. Yeah.
It's like you get to do it all the time, and yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. I'm pretty excited for those rules as well, just because the idea that you can like drastically change how your army functions based on what caste the elves are. It's kind of like a
sure.
cool idea.
As far as we know, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it could just be like these guys get reroll ones, and these guys.
Good.
I mean, they can
Yeah.
always do that, but we'll see. Or they could do these are the +1 save elves, and then all the other ones don't matter.
Oh my god.
Uh,
Sure. Yeah, they could just be mountain elite or something or whatever.
that's right.
Whatever they want to call it.
They drink the mountain juice, so they're +1 save.
That mountain spring water, man. It's
Yeah, man.
true.
Hey, all the water commercials, so, they have that.
Yeah, I
Made
mean, I
from a
don't know.
real mountain spring,
Yeah, I've
mountain.
had spring water. It's true. It's very good. It's like the best water I've ever had. It came out of a shitty little fountain sticking out of the side of a hill.
There you go.
I was like, "Can we drink this?" They're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Oh my god."
Oh my god. Brought to you by Brita.
That's right. I'm sure Nestle owns it or
Nestle,
something.
that's right. Yeah, no, they're definitely monetizing that in some way.
Yep.
What am I doing to get the two camera views? It's pretty simple. I have a webcam in my laptop, and I have another USB camera. But good luck buying a webcam right now. Holy cow!
Oh, no stock.
Everybody in the world is now working from home, so
Yeah.
webcams are just
Everyone's zooming.
everyone's zooming right now. Zoom.
Zoom.
So the thing to look at it if you are gonna get a camera, um, to be honest, you really shouldn't be spending over like 120 bucks, because the really high end ones for this type of stuff, it's just you're not going to use any of the functionality of it. Even the low end webcams can do pretty crazy stuff these days.
Yeah. Hello.
I don't even know what a capture card is, man. You're asking the wrong guy.
Oh, I looked into that a little bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I thought I might need one, and then it was like, oh.
Is that just a way to add?
So what? So you can use it to So like for example, did they put it? Yeah, I have a DSLR as
yeah,
well.
okay, I do as well. Yeah, so
Yeah. So you would hook it up, and basically you use like a specific HDMI cable, and you just hook it up to the card, and then the card hooks to the computer, and it handles all the like input, and then puts it together into like a nice stream, and you have a bunch of controls and things like that. You can record with it and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, cool.
And, but
I see. It's yeah. I've used similar things with recording. When you have to take like an analog input and feed it into like a box basically, and then output it into your computer.
Like it takes all
converters basically.
Kind of, yeah.
It's like converting a signal into different.
But we found for what we're doing, we didn't need it because we're just literally, we've got like a pretty, our solution is pretty wacky. Like I'm streaming my desktop to Discord, and then Chris is taking that and putting it at the bottom in the little screen there. So, and then my camera, my DSLR just has like Canon just has software that lets you like remotely control your camera from your desktop. So, while I'm not there, I don't have that test cam.
Yeah, we're still working on a solution for that for Jay. Eventually,
I might be able to like maybe get my phone and do it, or
see his
something.
face one day in that little box, you know.
Or maybe I'll order with the webcam today and get it by the summer, you know. So
yeah,
that will be the plan.
Eventually, when we get this fully opted, like we'll probably have I'll probably have a third camera in that little box there. I'm hoping to have my wet palette for if I do some like technique stuff and do some crazy stuff. Yeah. So we'll see. It's a process. It's a process.
So we do have some stuff arriving this week to the store. People are looking for more hobby supplies. We'll have restock of brushes and some paints. No Citadel stuff, so don't get too excited.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But some other staples, glue, some primers, and yeah, we're gonna get our scale order hopefully in the next 2 days. We've had there's like our scale 75 rack has been decimated, so desperately needed some pretty big holes in that.
It's rack. A pretty big order too. We got a lot on there, so pretty much every paint and paint set we sell, we're getting back.
Yeah,
along with some pretty cool new stuff.
So if you're looking to get into those paints, that was a good time. Chris and I use them a lot all the time. Yeah, they're just really good. They're easy to use, cover really well, and have really nice colors for doing some more technical stuff, like non-metal or even true metal. Really beautiful metallics. Probably the best we've ever used, at least in my opinion. So
yeah, I think one of my favorite parts about the Scale 75 metallic range is that they, unlike I think any other company, they do a great job of giving you a full range of contrast. So like you can actually achieve like a light to dark transition properly, going from like black metal to speed metal to white metal or whatever. Like
yeah.
And same with the golds and same with the bronzes. Like they have fully fleshed out ranges for all of those different colors of metal.
Pretty much every army we have on display in the store that has like metallic on it, it's using scale metallics.
Yeah.
It's like people are always like, where's this gold from? Like, here it is. You know, these custodes or these Deepkin or Nurgle or whatever. It's all anytime.
It's not a secret. It's just magic.
Magic. It's magic.
Magic. Just like that, he's got yellow on him. His chair is yellow. The only sad thing for me, I think this is going to be like probably a short-term thing, but like there's a decent range of contrast colors, but there's still some holes in the range. Specifically like purple, I find. The one purple they have is like really, really like black purple. And then the other one is like really soft, subtle, like.
Yeah.
So there's no in between. Yeah.
Or whatever it is. Yeah. I don't have like nice middle one. Yeah.
Middle one would be muchos apreciados, you know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna paint his face now.
You have that pink one,
Vulpus, yeah.
Vulpus, whatever. It's not bad. Yeah.
That one's actually pretty nice. It's probably the nicest one out of the three.
It's very red though.
It is, yeah.
You need a more blue, purple, or whatever.
Like almost like a violet you're looking for, or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's kind of obvious, glaring thing. You're like, really? You guys missed that one? How did you miss that one?
How did this happen? hey, it's just setting. They're just setting themselves up for
That's true.
more releases in the future.
That's right. That's how they work.
Paint rack just keeps like just doubling in size every couple years. Yeah, I was pretty excited. I finally get a chance to paint these Marvel models because they've been assembled and just kind of sitting in my car for
Sitting in the
pretty
car.
much in the hobby wagon or whatever I like to
Wow.
call it,
I'll be
and just
back in, yeah.
in the trunk, so I don't have to look at them and get sad. I since you know the yearly Adepticon push we go on, where I just don't paint anything else for
Mm-hmm.
almost 6 months or whatever. Nice
Yeah,
to get to these things.
you got pretty much did that Stone Reaper army mostly.
Pretty much, yeah. Got some things to do.
It'd be tough to finish those mort gas.
Yeah, I know. Got to paint a
So,
Catacross too, and it's not going to be a
oof.
quickie,
No, he's like 5 models or whatever.
It's probably realistically 30 or 40 hours.
Oh yeah, you could spend that on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And my baby son is crying in the background.
Oh boy. Whoosh.
Kid life.
Kid life. Yep. Yeah, they're nice and oblivious these days. They're just like, whatever. Their days just blend together. Every day is just a blast.
Oh yeah, man. I don't know how Sebastian's doing, but Logan loves being at home. Like he's just.
Oh yeah, Sebastian's been great at home.
He's like just living the dream, He's like, I get to hang out with mommy and daddy every day. This is great.
Yeah. I'm finding he's eating better, sleeping better.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Good mate.
So we got a list of a billion. How you doing? A billion questions from our good friend Dwayne.
Oh no.
Who
you start to tackle those?
Yeah, I figured we would have like a Dwayne's corner or Dwayne's world or something. We just trying to tackle Dwayne's pressing hobby questions. And try and I'll preface this. Some of these like a good chunk of these I think I would probably do via airbrush. So if you don't airbrush, then my answers may disappoint you. Not all of them, and hopefully I'll or Kirsten and I will tackle some of these in like more elaborate videos later.
Yeah, I think our goal is to use the YouTube format for instructional videos, because basically we can record a video at the store and then just upload it, and then it's just easy to watch it. Twitch is maybe not the best medium for something like that, but yeah.
So first couple are magic weapons and power weapons. I'm gonna just kind of put these together. These are, I would say, these are kind of like objective to like what you want them to like look. I'm assuming this is just kind of any like glowy weapon that's not just silver or whatever. Lots of ways to do this. I would say these days I'll try and paint one here on this man sheet as we go along today. There are different ways you can do like really elaborate ways, like the way that Games Workshop does, where you like blend lots of colors. But the easiest way probably is to start with a neutral color. So if you want your sword to be, I don't know, red, pick like a medium, so maybe Mephiston or something. Not too light, not too dark. And then use black paint to add shadows, like thin black paint, and then start adding brighter reds and oranges to the medium red and work up some spots, and then do like an edge highlight. You can also throw on some contrast paint. So yeah, there's a lot of ways, and some look really good. Some look just good tabletop. You probably can't go wrong with just like slamming a contrast red or one of the poppy colors, and then painting the edges like make with like a sharp color like white or orange or something to make all the hard edges pop or whatever. I'm gonna faces. I'm gonna save for another day. It's like a whole video in itself. I'll let Chris tackle this. Here we go. Proper shading. This is right in Chris's wheelhouse here. What's your take on
Down
shading?
Is just how to shade?
Chris's favorite word
how
here.
To shade. Down shading. It's the double entendre. Shading. Well, shading's interesting because there's a lot of different like methods you can like. I mean, that you could say that about anything really, but essentially, shading has a lot to do with how you start the model. Typically, the GW method, at least the one they use now, they tend to start with like a mid-tone, like somewhere in the middle of where you want your color to look. So if you have like a red and you want it to be pretty bright, you wouldn't start with the brightest color and you wouldn't start with the darkest color. You start somewhere in the middle. And their method is usually that you apply like one of their shade paints, hence the name shade. And it's a dark wash that goes over top of the model. So that's one way to shade, and then they kind of like highlight up after that. Another way that I've learned to shade models is kind of at the end. You can also kind of add more depth to the model by shading in different colors at the end. So for example, like this MODOK I'm painting here. Now that I have like the contrast yellow on here, I would probably, I'm going to blend it up with a slightly brighter yellow, really thin coats, and just kind of blend it higher, and then probably use almost like a white yellow to edge some of the areas just to get like a nice highlight in. And then when I'm done that, I'll go back at the very end, take some really thin, maybe purple or red, and just add more contrast towards the bottom areas to add depth to the color. The colors you use to shade can change depending on the color you're shading. You want to get yourself a color wheel and you can study that type of stuff, or you can always just shade with the darker color of the color you're using. One really kind of advanced, I guess, arty kind of way of painting that we've kind of picked up over the years from having like world-class artists come to the store is a lot of like high-level painters. When you look at their stuff, they actually shade all the colors on their model with a similar palette of colors. So they might set the kind of mood or tone on the model with like a purple or a green or a blue or a red, and just kind of shade the whole model that way. And what kind of happens when you do that is it gives the piece a cohesive kind of feel, and it kind of gives it a setting or an environment, which is kind of neat. And that's all stuff you can kind of play around with and learn. I know that's a lot of information, but that's what it is. It's art, so you can kind of take it for what it is. Shading can be really simple, or it can be just as complex as anything else. So
I think something to probably, if we're talking about tools, you should get yourself, if you don't already. A lot of people stay away from these larger brushes. So here I have a 2 and a 4, for example. These are really valuable to have for applying shade, because as opposed to just I have a grimy brush somewhere here I was using before that I don't use a lot, but or I used to use it a lot, and then it kind of lost some bristles. you know, like where is it? Yeah, I had. Oh, there it is. Yeah, but it's a black-handled brush that I put on my keyboard, so I lost it. Actually, even this brush is like it's seen some wear, but it's kind of lost its tip and it's lost some bristles. But the key with the big brushes is they hold a lot of paint. So what you can do is load more on here, and then you get a more consistent um, application, because you just kind of like load it once, and then you can push around all the shade and everything, and it has a nice tip. It'll go in all the crevices nicely, and you can use nice brush strokes, like fluid brush strokes, to pull and push the paint everywhere it needs to go, and just kind of um, it's not as messy. And then because it also holds a lot of paint, what you can do is dry the brush, like wet it and clean it and dry it on a towel, and then use it as a sponge to go in and clean up whatever is pooled too much. So yeah, trying to apply shade with just like any jank brush or whatever will be frustrating. You should actually try and get yourself something that holds a shape, holds a lot of paint. A brush like number 4 is typically the most expensive brush because it's more bristles, but I find they last really long because you don't punish them as hard as your smaller brushes. So
I'll add one thing. I mean, just onto the brush comment, I think you're absolutely right. And one of the things I think that hurt me a lot early on in my hobby career was using too small brushes for pretty much everything. And it's one thing I always try to instill in people is always, for everything you do with painting, always use the largest brush you can for the job you're doing, because it will make you a better painter. You'll learn better brush control. You'll paint faster.
faster.
Yeah, faster, and you'll realize too that if you're using a good tool, a good brush, um, that the tip is pretty much the same on most of them, even the large ones. So yeah, use big brushes.
Bit of a wax on, wax off thing.
I basically don't paint. I almost never go below a 2. Like, just
yeah,
which is like insane, but that's where we're at.
I think that just became what you're most comfortable with, or I don't know.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. Like, there's like, I'm not saying don't use ones or zeros or whatever for certain things. It's like they all have a place and can be really useful depending on the type of model you're painting.
Yeah, you're not going to catch, Chris will die before he uses anything smaller than a 0. So.
Oh yeah, you'll like. I'm just one of those like people. Like, you're buying a 000. I'm like, what are you gonna do with this?
Yeah. I had to convince Chris to be like, no, it's fine, and we can carry smaller brushes. He's like, why? And I was like,
it's one of those things where you have to, like, my hobby, the hobby. You got to get over yourself.
Like, yeah, just because you don't use one, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So.
All right, I'm gonna pick one more here. I want to save some of these for. Can't give it all away here.
Can't give it all away.
Can't give it all away. This one comes up a lot, I guess. Is basically lacquers or finishes or top coats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's another kind of, let's say, tough one, but it's got, everyone gets different results and whatever, and then there's also like little other things, like whatever brand or finish you use. I don't know, for us, at least for me personally, I don't actually finish. I don't top coat a lot of my. Depends on what it is. If it's like a piece I'm spending like just an insane amount of hours on, like 30, 40, 50 plus hours, and yeah, I tend to handle the model a lot. I rub paint off, and it's usually a showpiece. Then I'll throw on usually Tester's dull coat, 1260 or whatever it is the code on it. I think we also sell it, and it's kind of the one that just it comes in a small can, so you run out of pretty quick, but it goes on extremely fine. It's like this really fine, almost like mist, and you can apply it on a model many times if you want. You can do 10 coats on a model, and you won't really notice it. Like it won't like cloud or build up or whatever. The only small issue is it does smell like cancer. It probably is cancer.
It's extremely toxic. Yeah.
It's very smelly. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got that like classic industrial
Yeah.
stink to it or whatever. So you definitely want to do it outside. But for my kind of like these banshees, for example, I'm not going to bother because they're plastic. I've done a bunch of like washes and shades. I did a gloss wash. The contrast paint has a bit of gloss to it. Like this model's already never going to chip or whatever. This model's more likely to get stepped on and broken than have paint rub off, and that's usually true for almost anything that's plastic. On the metal models, I would the few ones I still paint, I would definitely do a coat. Now I've used a bunch. I've used the even the Citadel, the newer one, the Minotaur varnish. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, and that one's actually a satin. It's meant to match the finish in the paint. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is great. And so, yeah, it's kind of, yeah. I guess my rule is, again, I don't know about Chris's ideas, but unless it's like metal or a showpiece, I kind of don't really bother.
This is definitely one of the things where Jay and I are completely different on, for sure.
There you go. Yeah. So.
Although I think when Jay does use dull coat, he uses it way more than I do. So like I think how many times do you think you sprayed Conrad Kurs? 60?
Kurs, no, probably 10 times.
Yeah,
because I would sit and paint for like 3-4 hours, and then I would just do a quick spray, just mist around, and then
that's how you know it's a good product though, because you can spray a model 10 times and you would never notice that it was on there. Yeah, thanks man. Take care. Thanks for tuning in.
See you. Also, airbrush varnish can be controlled pretty well too.
Yes.
Just put on as much or as little as you want, or whatever.
I think I almost use the dull coat less so for protection and more just to kind of get that matte finish on the model that I really like.
Sure.
It kind of sets all the shines the same, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I actually I do that when I do a lot of contrast base coats on a model. I actually go and do a quick.
That's actually good, yeah, and that's because you find it there's like a shininess to it, or
yeah, it can especially when you just slam the contrast really thin it, and you just like it can be pretty harsh and shiny. So
yeah,
I will spray it on before I start doing like further colors or whatever.
Yeah, and as far as we know, because we sell it a lot, the Vallejo ones all work really well. It's funny. It's just like you kind of just use what you're comfortable with. I've never really had to go away from dull coat because it's just kind of always worked well for me. I think if I was painting a piece like a bust or a figure, and I wanted to have more control over the shines in it, I would probably divert and use something else. But maybe an airbrush based one.
Yeah, the airbrush one will be can kind of guarantee the.
Because you could like putty off a section and then airbrush a certain finish off of.
You could do, yeah. Back to painting power weapons or whatever. I'm figured because I'm tackling one here. So we were talking. I did a like a neutral kind of purple base coat, kind of like Gene Steeler purple, kind of. And now I have this color that's pretty close to Drucci, not Drucci, Zeres purple, whatever. And I'm adding a little bit of black to it. I need it to be a little bit darker, and I'm just doing this kind of like I'm thinning it a little bit more. It's not quite a wash, but it's kind of in between a wash and a regular paint, and I'm just hitting some areas that will need to be darker. So basically, shading now I find blocking in the shade is easier to do at this stage than later. And also the kind of standard adage is it's way easier to go down, like darker in color, than to go up in colors.
Oh yeah, it's a good point.
You kind of want to just kind of add your darkness now quick, and then you're done, and then you just focus on the rest of this planing. This thing will just be literally just highlight. We're just gonna be going up in values rather than down from this point on. And then you have to be mindful too of like what the angle of the weapon is important too. So in this case, she is got it kind of almost horizontal, not quite, kind of at a weird 45-degree angle. So I'm going to assume that this top part will be brighter than the bottom. The bottom will be just darker in general because it's not really. It might reflect a bit of what's around it, but generally speaking, it's the ground is like the sun's not going to be on one side, for example, or whatever light source you want to imagine. So yeah, we'll just do that for a bit until we're happy.
I'm actually going to do a video on non-metal contrast paints because I've discovered a couple of really easy recipes for doing that just from fiddling around with a couple colors. It really is about just smooth transitions, like basically from like the darkest point to the lightest point, like really smooth transitions. So if you want to attempt like power swords and non-metallic metal, just really work on your blending because that's what makes the biggest difference for sure. Do you use references often? I find I do a lot as well for that stuff.
I'm literally looking at one of these banshees and how the Games Workshop people did it. So sitting in front of me, box art is useful for that.
Yeah, honestly, there's I think everyone needs to kind of remember there's no like, don't feel like you can't use references. Like that's just ridiculous. Everybody uses them.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be it for Dwayne's corner here.
We're gonna retire Dwayne's corner till next time.
Till next time, which Thursday probably. Don't worry, there's more. There's more here. So
what questions his dark mind can come up with?
They're all really good hobby questions. So and like I said, hopefully we'll tackle some of them.
Well, as long as he doesn't ask us anything like like grown-up questions that we have to answer. Like
no,
as long as we stick to the hobby, we're good. Okay.
It's all hobby. Yeah, he's not asking. Asking what to do, where to get his toilet paper or whatever in this time of need.
It's a hot stock to invest in right now.
Toilet paper.
Oh, jeez.
Sure, Johnson or whatever.
That's right. Yeah, whatever. Johnson and Johnson. Where are you, skeleton horde? There you are. Pretty much getting the base coats almost done here. Just got a couple of colors to go.
You're in the best time right now, just slamming base coats on.
Actually, don't think I have Blood Angels Red. It's a really nice one, actually.
It's nicer than I thought it would be. I remember thinking it would be a little too like toy-like, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, like shiny red plastic.
Yeah. No,
You know.
it's got a good amount of like some of them definitely have like do a better job of like blending than others almost like there's like you really get a feel that there's like more than one color in there, and then some of them are a bit more like plain.
Yeah.
The red and the blue are two of my favorites just for like how like crazy good they look right on the model. Did you use the I think you used the red for your orcs, didn't you?
I did. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. So bring some in
That's
sometime.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. My Iron Jaws guys are just like what Chris is doing with Modok. There's tons of contrast. The first 30 minutes of the model is just. I think my boar rider, yeah, I just use like 2 or 3 kinds of brown on the fur. Most of the armor plates, and it was great because the armor's already kind of pitted, so it already kind of went into the kind of like the shading came out real nice, and
Yeah.
yeah, the yellow I love like applying the yellow as is amazing. Like painting yellow has never been
Oh, the yellow is disgustingly good. Like this is just
so easy to do.
like
Like,
wow, just it's
like I would just not paint things yellow for many years because it was like just not worth it. Just like people be like, "How do you paint yellow?" I'll be like, "I don't know. I don't."
Isn't there a contrast paint for that? I don't understand the question.
Yeah, there is now. Yeah.
He's got this like boost a jet thing going at the bottom. It's like, is there a quick way to paint this? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, now you gotta like think now.
Yeah, all the fun stuff, quick slamming colors on is over. It's into thinking mode. Unless I grab another model and just start contrasting that. That's what I might do. Sometimes you just don't want to think, you know? You just want to throw paint on the model.
Yeah. That's the opposite of what I'm doing. All I'm doing is thinking, right?
Crossbones here. Maybe I'll just throw some Black Templar on him. Get him going a bit.
Yep, so now I'm adding some highlight parts. I'm doing the opposite of what I did before. But basically, it's the same step, but instead of dark colors, I'm putting light colors, and I'm putting them in the opposite corners, I guess, of where the dark colors went. And you just kind of back and forth build it up until you're happy.
Paint a nice little happy tree. Is that what you're telling me?
Yep. Doing it like this, you do. Right now, I'm using it as zero. I may make a smaller brush eventually, just to catch some of these like small edges. So a big part of the step is outlining the shape of the weapon or whatever it is. It really helps. Like you see, they're like guidelines, so you can tell what like where you need to put the color. Once again, just box as a reference.
Good old box. Something about a GW box paint job. You know, they have this like perfect capacity to make something look attainable, but also at the same time look impossible to paint.
Yeah,
I don't even know how to describe it. Like it's just.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
It's like they look like really like kind of simple but nice at a glance, and then you like the more you look at them, you're like, oh, okay, that's painted really well.
And there's always times it's like one model on the box or a book that is painted outrageously good. That they went out and like they painted a show version of whatever that is.
Like that studio painter just went hams on it, you know, just to. Do you know I'm like really good at painting? Okay, I'm just gonna show you.
Yeah. It's like that old ogre book or whatever. They have this like you're just looking at the showcase. You're like, oh, this is cool. And then they show there's like a Yeti see-through block of ice or something. You're like, what the hell?
Why is it see-through? I don't understand how they did that.
Like all the other ones in the book just have like, it's like painted white with like a blue wash on it or whatever. Simulate like kind of like that cartoon ice look or whatever. And then they have one that's just like,
Yeah.
You're like, I'm seeing through this, but I know it's just like a opaque miniature. I don't understand why I can see through this object. I shouldn't be able to.
Needless to say, it's upsetting.
Sure.
No, we don't have a Discord yet. It's something we might look at doing, maybe as a special event or something. We don't really know how long this is going to go on for, so.
Makes it sound so grim. That's true in theory when life gets. Then maybe it'll be less often. But I think we'll still try and do the once a week when we can.
No, I just mean the Discord. Like if things
yeah,
continue, maybe we'll think of some way to have like a hobby night with our customers and
yes,
chill and stuff. Would be kind of cool. Or maybe we'll do some call-ins to the show or something and try to figure that out. Would be kind of interesting.
Call-ins would be funny. Yeah. Those would be.
Although I'm scared, like we definitely need to like get somebody who's like filtering the calls because
call screening. Yeah. That's true. You can't just let any crazy person on here.
Couldn't let most of our friends on here, you know? They'd be like,
no.
Everybody's so quiet in the chat. What are you guys painting right now? This is definitely one of those models where like everything on this guy is like going to be a different shade of black, basically. You're just like, okay.
This is leather, that's leather, that's leather. Yeah, I've already found the most annoying.
Oh, we know who that is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
it's a hot take right there, eh?
That I have on my desk here, yeah.
You guys better press F for Matt there, you know? Just
paint this guy eventually, yeah. I gotta say, when Matt and I split a box or whatever, one of the starter boxes. Just insanely cheap.
What was that you put on the thing? I didn't even catch it.
Oh, I don't even know what they're called. Or, I'm sure he'll chime in or whatever.
Hey, if I knew how to ban you, you'd be banned in a second, okay? But like, I don't. So
I don't know what this is. Some kind of elf. He's huge though.
That's cool.
You can see the size difference. Like, yeah.
God tier. Cool. That's a God tier model, isn't it?
He's like the big guy. Yeah, Matt and I split a box.
Very cool. How's the model quality? Pretty good.
It's pretty good if you they're just like any other like these are one piece pre-made, you know, kind of harder plastic. I don't know what we call it, soft medium plastic. There's some bendiness. His sword needed some. It's still a little bendy. I tried to hot water it a bit. It's kind of like premium board game, I guess.
Okay.
That is.
Yeah. I think most people understand what that means.
Yeah. So
it's like it's as good a quality as you're going to get out of a board game model.
But the game itself is packaged like really nicely. I was like just kind of like opening it. I was like, oh, nothing's like falling out. Everything's like packed, and production quality was very high. So yeah, you want a cool kind of hex-based arena game?
Yeah, I got a chance to try it. It's actually fun. Yeah, it's a fun game.
This is the part of the weapon that I hate the most. Painting this inside line. This was where I need this. 0.
Building skinks, you're a monster. Nobody wants to play against skinks.
Yeah, someone's trying to win tournaments or
You know,
something.
flood the board with worthless guys that you can't even fight because they run away. Damn you, sir. Damn you.
Don't they do like mortal wounds or something?
I think
all
they
day?
do now, don't they?
Because that's what we needed the skinks to have.
Oh, man. Lizardman's always BS in some way.
Yeah. They either have an unkillable dude or a dino laser. They still have that.
They still definitely have Venusaur, yeah. Oh, Black Templar, you are so good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's just so smooth.
Definitely probably the best single one.
I remember like, talk about toilet paper shortages, man. When contrast paints came out, you could not get a Black Templar. Like,
No. Yeah. I would get 6 or something and they'd be gone in a day or whatever.
you would do a post and a guy would like come through the roof or something. He'd be like, I heard someone had Black Templar. There was guys that would be in the store when we got the order, and they'd buy it even though they didn't need it. It's like,
yeah, it was
oh,
that.
I heard that's hard to
yeah.
get. Better buy some. And that's how the world works.
Another comment on blending and painting things like this or non-metal or whatever is, I think I mentioned it before, is the you really have to ration the white because you can't go brighter than the white. So so when you're doing some parts of the highlights, you have to put it on very sparingly, and then you just need it at the end to just do these like really tiny reflections where it's at its brightest, and that's what gives it that
shimmer.
Yeah, so
it tells people where the light is actually going, like hitting. It's kind of like the final guide, and without the white, you can tell like, it doesn't really work the same way.
Yeah, but yeah, you can't just kind of go straight to like I don't know, just less is more with it, I guess. So kill the illusion if you go too ham with it. Black, I find, is the one you don't put enough of.
Yeah.
You need to add more black usually, most of the time.
For sure.
We're like, I'll put a ton of white, and then it's like, not enough black. That's like always the problem.
Like, why doesn't this look right?
Yeah. And then I might do, and then what you can do is there's another little, wasn't mentioned, but people often ask us about this is what the heck is glazing? So glazing is like you adding a tint or something. It's between glazing and shading. So in this case, if I want to add a little bit more purple to this, then I'll just thin down some purple, like, and just kind of just add a little bit here and there to blend the colors a little bit more. But again, the key with this is it has to be really subtle. You can't. It's not just like doing a hard wash on the whole thing. It's got to be like a touch. And then you can also use other tints. Like you could add, a lot of artists add greens to their flesh, or reds, or whatever.
Yeah, most Caucasian skin, especially, I mean, most skin does, but has like green, purple, red, even a little bit of blue sometimes. Like, I mean, blue can like look like purple, but I think I used all those colors on my Hannibal bust. On Crossbones, I'm all one color. Yeah, it's makes me sad that the new releases aren't coming out for this. They got delayed because the next wave of stuff was all like the bad guy Guardians of the Galaxies and like the Thanos stuff. I was like, this is the coolest stuff they had on the, in my opinion, on the release schedule.
Yeah.
Just like, gotta have a Thanos, you know? Just
Yeah.
too freaking cool.
Exactly.
And if you guys, if you guys out there like haven't seen the model, go look up Crisis Protocol Thanos because it's definitely their best sculpt. He's so well done.
Hopefully, he's not like $80 or something.
Oh, I mean, he definitely will be. He definitely will be.
He's definitely not shy about escalating price or whatever because they think it's like important or whatever. Like, oh, this model's a big deal. Let's make it more expensive.
Yeah, I think they were like early on. They were kind of a little bit more. We to make sure we're not charging too much, and then the game did really well, and they're like, I don't think we're charging it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they went from being like, I think I'd say on the medium side to like being more on the higher side for price per model, but you're getting a plastic miniature, 40 millimeter, so they're like a little bigger, and like most they're not Fantasy Flight, but they're like kind of like a subsidiary. The packs come with like tokens and cards and stuff too, so you're not just getting the model, you're getting stuff with it. So
I mean, Hulk's the size of a Dreadnought or something.
yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
Like $48 is not even that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
And you need to buy one.
That's the other thing, right? People have to remember that you're not buying multiple Hulks, so
I mean, you can, but
yeah.
Really, you need to.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty much your guess is as good as mine at this point in terms of delay, because it's just there's just a lot of unknowns right now, and there's not a lot of communication. Like, pretty much as stuff was shutting down like a week and a half ago, we just get emails from distributors saying we're closing until further notice, sort of thing. So they have said that it's for sure there's no new releases in April. So Asmodee and GW both said that. So at least we're waiting at least until May, potentially longer, although I don't anticipate it to be much longer.
Yeah, it looks like all these companies will fire up some skeleton crews, and
I think it's just a matter of like adjusting your warehouse and like your protocols to make sure that your employees are safe at work, like, which is the responsible thing to do.
Yeah.
So I imagine these places are figuring it out, and I have noticed there's been a number of distributors that have started to start up again in a small fashion. You have to be a little bit more careful when you're non-essential because you don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to do something you're not supposed to be doing. So there's a lot of that going on too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, we cannot customer face right now. We're just not allowed. So it has to be contactless pickup or it has to be shipped. It's just the reality we deal with right now. So
To everyone who's been buying stuff from us, thank you.
oh yeah,
It's been helping a lot.
we know especially like how many people are like going through tough times right now, so it means that much more that people would put aside any amount of money to saying like, that you guys care about us being around. So that means a lot to us. We have I won't say too much, but we have a special kind of just thank you to all of the people that have bought something while we've been closed that we'll be announcing at some point.
Yeah, it will be pretty cool. At least we think so. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think it's neat, but who knows? Well, maybe it'll just be like a Warhammer preview. that was it.
Oh,
really?
Yeah,
You hyped it up a lot, and
yeah, I can already feel Matt's snarky comment. Yeah.
I love pity dollars, man. Like pity dollars. There's no shame in taking pity dollars.
That's true, and because of everyone's generosity, Chris and I haven't had to, go as far as having our kids on stream with us, to drive the point home. We haven't reached it there yet. So.
Oh man.
When you see either of our boys on the thing, that things have reached another.
We're hitting a dire straits. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So.
Even though when you see the Patreon account or whatever fire up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, if you were just into getting your models have color on them, basically, Crossbones would be done. Because he's like 3 colors and yeah, base coated already. Pretty
cool. For you. I might finish a sword here in a few minutes, maybe.
No one told you to blend every sword, okay?
Dude, it's only 1 of 10, so.
I mean, I don't have like a ton of evidence, but I think I can say circumstantially, Jay only paints armies if they all have power weapons, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
You're not happy if you're not blending swords on every model in your army.
At least 3 times a year. I do this 2 weeks.
It's just madness.
Exactly what I'm doing here.
It's madness. We're coming up on the 1 hour 10 minutes. Yeah, we'll go a couple more minutes and then we're still planning our regular scheduled stream on Thursdays. So if you guys do have questions you want answered, just you can post them on Facebook or you can email us or whatever. We'll try to
be like Dwayne.
Be like Dwayne.
Send me 40 questions or whatever. He has more coming. He said that was just like what was on his head at that time. So
the funniest thing is if he just never watches too. Like he just like.
Oh no, I'm sure he'll.
No, I've seen him on here already. It's just be kind of funny if he was like, "Here, guys, here's some stuff. See you later."
Yeah, Matt has Pentum Snark. Yeah, I'm sure you do. It's true. It's a little sad I can't, in real time, really, in person.
I mean,
our usual backs and forths.
We've been dunking on Matt for a couple years now, so he's built up a bit of a backbone.
Yeah, that's true. He does. Yeah. He does talk back now. That's kind of a problem.
As most people know, the more often you come to the shop, the worse your customer service experience gets. It's directly inverted in like the opposite way you'd expect.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's just how we operate, It's part of the personal experience.
Yeah, you do provide an essential service. It's true. If anyone ever gets to know Matt, he plays all the deadest games. So if you got a dead game you want to play, he's your man. It's always a tough sell for Matt because if we get a new product in, he's just like it's the opposite of exciting because it's just coming to life, It's like a live game.
Talk to me when this is going off the shelf.
When this is going off the shelf, then I'll be interested in promoting it, running events.
Do not resuscitate. Do not resuscitate.
Oh man. Yeah, who knows what'll be the future of Malifaux? Another good question.
I just I don't like the thing with a game that size. I think there's a ceiling. The way they act as a company, we'll probably have to do like an actual show on this at some point. But
yes,
because it's just it's such a multifaceted thing. But I think they've they've got this like range that they kind of bounce between. Like there's a low point and a high point, and they kind of bounce in between that area.
Hmm.
I think they're on the lower end of that, but I don't see them like failing completely
No.
because they do have a nice product, and that will get you so far. But in terms of being a bigger presence, I think that ship may have sailed now.
Mm.
But I mean,
Yeah.
there's no shame in not being GW or not being like one of the big companies. Like it's very hard to like. There's a reason why there isn't another Games Workshop.
I think I think one of their struggles actually is right now is actually more to do with not getting enough stuff out fast enough. Like everything takes so long to like arrive, and then when it arrives, it's kind of like, and not enough of it is like new. I feel like lately it's just been like reboxings and like not not like Infinity's figured this out. They're like, there's a lot of stuff they could be like going back and fixing, but they're like, we're just gonna keep pumping out new stuff. And if we can update something old and make it like redo it or rebox it, we'll do it later whenever we have a spare moment. I think there's a bit of that, like just trying to maintain the current stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I won't go on a rant about Malifaux right now because it'd be about 30 minutes long probably.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah,
It's uh,
that's
it's gonna
true.
need its own episode basically.
It will. Yeah, yeah. Maybe on Thursday. Who knows?
Maybe Thursday. Yeah, it's true. Oh man.
Matt's gonna have his popcorn ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he said the new faculty styles. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, where's, I don't know, like all the new faction. Close comment today on that is like 1/3 had dropped all the what do you like Yoko, like the new,
Mm-hmm.
like that sold really well, and all any of those new like brand new ones sold like pretty well. People
Yep.
wanted, and the ones that were like kind of a rebox with like one new thing were kind of like lackluster. So
Yeah, we definitely probably are like one of the like most unique places to have that kind of like if we're going to talk about Malifaux highs and lows over the last 5 years, because
mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
we've been there, done that. Like we had a huge thriving Malifaux community. It was like one of our biggest games at one point.
When we opened, it was
Yeah,
like a pillar. You know?
yeah, exactly. So I mean, talk about being in a position to see something retract and go down. And the hobby's funny like that. Like hobbyists are pretty resilient. Like they just kind of move on to the next thing. So if your
They
company,
shelve it and come
yeah,
back. Yeah.
yeah, they just kind of like if your game or whatever is kind of like noticeably retracting, or people aren't that interested in it, or your company's kind of like dicking around a bit, like people just will go somewhere else like pretty immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh yeah.
and there's so many options out there now, like just stuff to do, especially if you're into dead games.
Lots of those to play. The other side, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a part of it for sure. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna get into it. He's really tempting me here, but
Yeah. I've had too many times. I've been in the shop and lost 30 minutes going over.
oh
my
yeah,
thought,
and I
my
mean,
thoughts
even
on
one of the topics of Kickstarter that can get me going with somebody for a good 30
Sure,
minutes too. So
sure.
I think there was a guy trying to sell his or promote his board game he was doing through Kickstarter or something in the shop one day, and he had been going store to store to talk about it, and I was the first person that kind of gave him like, I mean, for those of you guys that have ever met me, I'm not exactly like, you know, I'll say what I think, which is I guess rare, maybe, I don't know, but I was just kind of like, I kind of gave the guy like my brutal, honest opinion about like Kickstarter, and he was actually like literally knocked on his ass, like he couldn't believe that like retailers didn't like Kickstarter.
He thought like, oh, it's the greatest. Yeah, you put your idea up, you get funded, make your
Why
game.
wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you support us doing that? And you're like, well,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah. Even now we're in an age where often the the Kickstarter, the good ones, or well, the good one, quote good ones, will include the retailer. But even then, though, sometimes when all's said and done and everything gets like calculated out at the end, retailer doesn't make much, and the game probably won't survive 6 months because of like, if especially if it's a new miniature game, everything's been delivered and there's nothing new being made until God knows when. So, oh, kind of a
I think it's absolutely the worst format to do
to
any miniature
launch.
to launch a miniature game. Like it's just
Yeah,
not the right format
yeah,
for that. Board game, sure, whatever. Who cares?
sure, sure.
You don't need to have a community for a board game.
No.
The only Kickstarter game I can think that's doing okay right now is Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah,
And they've had pretty steady
it's because
releases.
it's because they didn't do a second one. They just
I
released
know.
stuff.
God. I guess you got to give them credit there, you know? They didn't double tap or whatever.
Double tap.
Should we double tap? No. No. Single tap. Okay.
Yeah. And Hobby Supplies is actually worth good too. That's because you're just birthing a cool new tool.
Yeah.
Everyone may want or need or whatever.
Like I think you can make a legit case if you're a startup company. Like it's your first time you've ever made something. And I mean, I say that with a large caveat because Jay and I did not Kickstarter our business. So
No,
you know, that aside, you could the one, I guess the time you could say it's like make a legitimate case is if you are brand new and you don't have any startup capital. Like I guess.
Sure.
But when you're when you use it as a pre-order system, that's when I get really sour about it.
Yeah, it's just off-putting.
Dun, dun, dun. It's weird. Easter's coming up, and it just like someone was asking me today if we were going to be open or open, quote unquote open, and I was like, I legitimately didn't have an answer for him because I'm like, I just the holiday itself has no meaning at this point. You know, like it's just like it's almost as if like Christmas was coming. Like imagine Christmas was like next week or something.
Yeah.
Would you be like no one would be really doing much, like so.
Yeah. You're not seeing your family. Like nothing's going on. You're just probably going to be at home. So
It's very interesting times. Actually using for Killmonger here, I'm using actually really like these. This is GW. Good on them. They put out a skin, 3-step skin for dark skin. So you do like actually paint black skin without having to like make up your own recipe, which is awesome. And it does look really good. So I'm gonna do those steps on him. I'll probably contrast them with other stuff. Just get some colors on him.
Always contrast. Yeah.
He's a pretty simple model. He's just some skin and some pants and a couple weapons. I'll probably put a lot of time into the weapons and skin to make it look interesting. That's the fun thing about superheroes, though. I almost think like when artists are drawing them, like this is just a byproduct of comics. It's like you have to get these comics out in a reasonable amount of time. Like
so they like don't detail them.
Things are simple. Like things are simple, easier to draw, basic shapes, and then for the colors, the inkers, and the color, the people that color, like simple 3 colors, 4 colors max kind of thing on stuff. So they're kind of fun to do in that regard. You had a good stopping point?
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. As always, you can call in, you can email us. We are working on a e-commerce website, but it's time consuming, so that may launch at some point in the future. But until then, we have a little submission form on our website. We'll be up again on Thursday for the Twitch stream. And apparently we're going to reach our affiliate status this week, which is kind of cool because if any of you guys have a Prime account, like Amazon Prime or whatever, you'll be able to do like a special subscribe, which gives us some like small benefit, which is cool. So yeah, you guys take care, and we'll see you next time. Have a good night. Stay safe. Be healthy.